If you can speak, you can influence. And if you can influence, you can change lives. Welcome to the new episode of Inspiria Gyan series podcast. And we are going to discuss the topic, how to become a good public speaker. And to speak on this, I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Mriganka Dutta. And I will call you MD throughout the podcast. And I would like to welcome you on this podcast as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having me here.
And I'm sure that, whatever you are going to tell our audience about public speaking, it will play a very important role in their life because you have got the experience and knowledge and XYZ things. And we're going to have a very detailed, discussion on this. But before that, I just wanted to ask you that can you tell our audience in a simple words that what exactly is public speaking?
So public speaking is basically the ability to get up on stage in front of a known or an unknown audience and express your thoughts in a very clear manner so that you can motivate, communicate, and interact with people.
Okay, that's great. And all these big business leaders, politicians, all these big famous people are good public speaker. Is it a mere coincidence or it is a common quality that you will have to possess in order to become a good leader?
So what public speaking basically does is it gives you this innate quality to get up on the stage and view and express your thoughts very clearly. So what I feel, sir, is that in order to be a good leader, you should have the quality or the capability to express your thoughts very clearly.
That's right.
And every good leader that we know, like call it our politicians or our big businessmen who are very well established, have the ability to motivate people, have the ability to make people take action through their words. So yes, in order to be a good leader, being a very good public speaker is one of those qualities that really, really helps.
Yeah, and the other day we were discussing about Barack Obama and the final speech. Can you just tell me about that thing again?
So what we were discussing was the way Mr. Barack Obama, the ex-POTUS, the way he used to carry himself and the way he used to give his speeches.
Yeah.
Like it was a little unconventional when we listened to other heads of state speaking. And he had this beautiful way of working with pauses, and he would make people laugh and also ponder at the very same moment. And I really enjoyed the last time when they were having this dinner, and he got the chance to give the speech. And after he said everything, he just took the mic and he said Obama out and dropped the mic. So that's a very good way of ending a speech, because if you should start a speech with a bang so that people are interested to listen to you, but then you should end the speech also with a bang so that it leaves that impression in your mind.
Yeah, and I just wanted to share my one story experience. There is a company called Storywala. So the founder of Storywala, he narrated one story of Sachin Tendulkar, that when he was 16, he went to Pakistan to play a cricket match over there, and it was his debut. And he got hit by Waqar Yunus bouncer, and he was bleeding. And the people were saying that you can go to pavilion and you can come back again, but he said one thing, that main khelega, which means that I would like to play here, I'm here to play, right? So that story was he narrated that story for 10 to 15 minutes, but everybody was glued to it. So that was one of my favorite story. And if I say that the storytelling and the leadership and the communication and the public speaking, it's all interrelated.
Correct. That's true.
Yeah. So my next question to you: why is public speaking important?
Right. So public speaking is, the way we see it, when we say public speaking, it kind of you restrict yourself to just speaking on the stage, right, where there is an audience listening. Let's take it in a way as to why is having this confidence of speaking on stage, why is this very important? It is very important because what happens is, like, I'll give you a couple of examples. Like, let's say that you've been to a very fancy restaurant, and you're looking at the menu and you're wanting to order. But when you see there, rolled flat bread with parsley and glazed butter on it, and you're not understanding what it is. Could be, it's possible.
Yeah.
And you are very scared to call up the waiter and ask him because you think that, hey, I walked into a 5-star restaurant. What if he judges me and tells me that, Babe, itna bhi nahi pata, ye to butter naan hai.
That's right.
So that is where people get scared, and this anxiety that is there, that लोग क्या सोचेंगे, लोग क्या कहेंगे. सर, लोगों का तो काम ही है कहना, आप अपना काम करते जाओ. So it is very, very important to have this quality, because from time to time there will be situations where you will have to have this capability or this thing or this quality of being able to communicate properly to take you out of all these situations. Like, let's just give an example. You go to Subway and you go to order your sub. You just can't order, pay money, and then when they ask you what you want, you can't just say कि sub डाल दो उसमें. So you need to tell him which bread do you want. Do you want the cheese toasted or just laid over it? What are the different veggies that you need? What sauces you need, right? Because if you don't tell them, then they're going to make something which you will not like. So this is where it is very, very important, right? I believe that the confidence to ask or the confidence to, express as to what is it that you want is very important, because this is where most of us lose out in life.
Yes. And talking about what people will say, there is a famous saying of Navjot Singh Sidhu that दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोग क्या कहेंगे लोग. And what this is out of the syllabus question actually, but this is my curiosity. Means, do you think that there's a fear of failure, or if you think that if what people will judge me if I ask or if I say something, do you think it's a kind of hindrance in communication?
Yes, sir, it is. It is a kind of hindrance in communication, because see, when we as teachers, when we see in the class, like we ask questions, we ask, and does anybody have a question? Nobody will raise their hand. The reason being is because they have this anxiety, this peer pressure that what if I ask a question and my friends laugh at me, right? What if they think that what a foolish question to ask, right? So they will laugh at me, they will, push me aside and so on and so forth. The fear of ostracism that comes into play and everything. So that is where people do not want to communicate, and they think that it's okay, it's better if I stay quiet, I'll find it within myself, I'll figure it out by myself. And that is where the problem lies. It's because we do not come out and we say, because we are always worried about what people are going to say, how are they going to perceive, how are they going to judge. And that is why, like, for me, sir, the way it all started was, I did not care as to what people think, because I knew that for a fact that it actually takes only 3 seconds for a person to judge you from the moment they see you for the first time. So whatever you're wearing, however you're looking, you've already been judged on. And after that, whatever you do is how you change your judgment. Right, the first day when we saw Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the very first day, everyone thought, what kind of a president is he? Just look at him. He doesn't even stand properly. He doesn't talk nicely. He doesn't look so well. But then later on, he proved everybody, the entire nation, forget the nations or the entire world, as to what he is made of. And we still today, we talk about him and we cite his examples. So that is what it is. People shy away because it's all about what people are going to judge.
Yeah. Talking about phobia, my next question would be, from where does the phobia of public speaking come?
Right. So the phobia, sir, the phobia of public speaking is called glossophobia. It comes from a Greek word called glossa, meaning tongue.
Yeah.
This fear basically takes birth due to certain anxieties that people have. Of course, the first thing that we've already been talking about how will people judge me, people will think bad about me, what if they laugh at me, what if they don't understand my jokes, what if someone walks out, what if somebody throws a shoe at me. So there are different things, that anxieties that builds up in a person's mind, and that gives rise to the phobia. And also probably some bitter experience that they've had in the past. Maybe sometime there was a family gathering where they were asked to give a speech, and they stood up and they started speaking, but their cousins or somebody just made fun of them, laughed at them, or something like that, which gave them a kind of a trauma, and they thought that, you know what, this is not meant for me, so I cannot do this. And that is where people back off, thinking that ये तो मेरा बस का बात नहीं है, ये मेरे से मत कराओ. And that leads on, that keeps on piling up and up, keeps on piling up. And that is what happens. Like, at the end of the day, when you're like 30, 35 and you are in a seminar and you have to go and speak, you are fretting, you are sweating, your knees are shaking, your arms are heavy, right? And you just don't know how to get over it, because you've always been avoiding it and avoiding it. But then when situation comes, you don't know how to deal with it. So it is all about that. So it is the number one fear in the world, glossophobia. But it is also a fear, unlike the others, that you can work on. Right? Just Mountain Dew पीने से जीत नहीं मिलेगी. So you'll have to, in this one, you can work on it. And the more you work on it, the more you will get rid of this fear.
That's right. And now we are talking about the problem. So now I would like to ask you about the solution. So can you just give 3 advices to become a good public speaker?
Right. So my first advice would be that in great public speaking comes from great private thinking. If you have to speak about something, you will have to first think about the topic, as to think as in, why am I speaking on this topic? If I say something, what impact is it going to give to the audience? If the audience is listening to me, why should they listen to me? Right? Am I giving something? What is the motive of my speech? Is it going to be a humorous speech? Is it going to be an informative speech? Is it going to be a motivational speech? What is the main idea behind my speech? That is one thing that you can work on.
Okay.
Then secondly, what you can work on is, after you've done your thinking, you can start writing down points. Write down bullet points whenever you go. Like, just keep a pad and a pen with you. Keep thinking about it. Whenever a thought crosses your mind, write it down in a piece of paper. And then, keep doing the rest of the things, whatever you were doing in the day. Again, say suppose you're traveling in the car or you're waiting at a signal, suddenly some point comes in your mind, make a note of it. Don't let it go. Right? And then in the evening or whenever you're in a free time, you sit down with all these points and jot them down nicely and basically create a structure around these points. And once you've created a structure with a beautiful introduction and a beautiful conclusion, what you do is, you do not need to learn the entire speech. Never learn the speech, because if you learn the speech, what happens is, when you get up on the stage, you're already scared. There are all the forces and factors are against you, right? You're standing all alone. But if you learn, you will forget. So those pointers are all you need to learn. Work on those bullet points and just keep giving your speech. Keep improvising all the time. So that helps a lot.
Great. And what you would like to, I just wanted to tell my personal experience, that you have to be aware about it as well.
Of
Every
course.
now and then you have to think that as MD has mentioned about that, write those points. And so it's an ongoing process. Nobody becomes a good public speaker overnight. So if you ask Obama as well, are you a good public speaker, he will say that I'm in a learning phase.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So every now and then we are in learning process, and this process will move and go on and on and on and on.
That's true, sir. Learning never ends.
That's right. And last question to you. I know that you are very busy.
No worries.
You have a meeting schedule. But the last question for you. What makes a good public speaker?
So a good public speaker is someone who can make the audience laugh. That is what I believe. Like, so in today's world, if you ask me who are the best public speakers, I would say stand-up comedians. Because when you have an audience, you have audience from different demographics, different different religions, different genres, different geographical locations. So different mindsets, different backgrounds, right? But when you connect with all of them and you get a similar reaction from them, that is the most beautiful quality of a public speaker. It could be anything, they could cry, they could laugh, or whatever. But that unity that you form in that audience and get that one single form of emotion out is what makes a very good public speaker, is
Wow.
what I believe.
Wow. I think our audience will get a lot of learning from this podcast. On this note, I would like to say thank you very much for sharing your precious time with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute privilege.
Okay, so that's it from the podcast. In the next episode, we'll meet some other guests. Till then, please take care of yourself. Take care. Goodbye.